quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
I have approval of the minutes from June 23rd.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. License approvals. Item 1, recommend approval of outdoor dance permit for AJ's Bar and Grill. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a different packet, different agenda.
Here, no, wait.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Sorry, the asterisks threw me off, my mistake. Recommend approval of operators licenses.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All, go on.
Could we pull number 1, please, or the AJ's?
These are just the bartenders.
These are just bartenders.
Oh, you just want, those,
Yeah,
the
we're not doing it.
asterisk. I see, I'm sorry.
I was the only one that got confused by it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. Any other discussion on the operator's license? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Now we'll move on to recommendation of approval for outdoor dance permit for AJ's Bar and Grill on Boxhorn Drive for August 1st, 15th, 22nd, 29th of 2020 from 6 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. An amendment to the license premise for those dates from 4 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. This has been deferred from the previous meeting on June 23rd. So is it still on the floor or do we need to bring it back on? I believe it's still on the floor if it was deferred.
It is on the floor.
Okay, okay. Discussion. Is anyone here from AJ's? You want to come up to the microphone?
I'm probably gonna have to turn it on. Just tap it to see if it's on.
Yeah, there should be a switch on the front. No?
Do we have to turn something on here, Jill?
No,
There, I heard
Scott,
something.
I'll give you a hand.
Maybe it's got a charge.
no, I checked the batteries.
Just have to talk loud.
Oh, wait.
Wait a second.
Wait.
I
Oh,
think there's something.
wait a
under
minute. Okay.
Hello?
There you go. Sorry about that.
Now we're good.
Okay, so last meeting, we started discussing this, and there's probably still a number of people, the neighbors, that have concerns about the layout.
Sure. I watched the video. I wasn't actually aware you guys were talking about this at the last meeting. I was told it was a planning thing. But, wait a second. Can you hear me?
For the record, why don't you just state your name and address?
Oh. Hold on. Adam Jankowski. My address is W171S7452 Lannon Drive, apartment 302. Or are you looking for the AJ's address?
Either one works.
Oh, okay. Muskego. All right. Yeah, I watched the video of the last one, and I just want to address the concerns that I saw in the video with it. First of all, there's 4 dates listed on there, and that's because we didn't know when the bands would be available, so it's actually only 3 dates. So you can cross off August 22nd. So it's only the 1st, 15th, 29th. So I'm just going to go through everything, and then hopefully, you guys can ask questions. I guess if you have questions in the middle, but I'll try and go through everything I have here. All right, first of all, and I guess we haven't really done an event like this, especially in the outdoor area, probably for a decade. So this is kind of new, and normally we wouldn't be doing something like this, but in the wake of everything getting canceled, it was an opportunity to put something together and raise some money for charity. So first of all, one of the things we were planning on doing, which I guess not having done this, I don't know if I'm allowed to do it, but was to put up a temporary snow fence in between our property and Doug's property so no one would cross over and get into his property. If that's allowed, I have friends that are going to donate hundreds of feet of it to me to use, and we'll put that up. Noise concerns, I don't know if we can change things in this meeting, but on those, the sheets that we have its music from 6 to 10. One of my solutions to, change these, to address the noise concerns would be moving the shows earlier so they would end by 8 o'clock, which means most shows would start at 4:30 or 5, and ending at 8 o'clock, they would actually end earlier than even the gun club that's next door to us allows shooting during weekdays. I mean, you can do that until 9 o'clock there. So if we moved that up, the shows would be done approximately 8 o'clock, which hopefully on a Saturday that would alleviate that.
And you're proposing starting at what time then? 4?
We would still do the premise at 4 o'clock, but the bands probably wouldn't start till 4:30 or 5.
Okay.
But just to have the area open
I'm
so
just
people can
taking
walk
notes
in.
as you're writing.
Yeah.
So make sure.
Parking concerns were another one. Based on the spot with the tent, and I know some people had addressed, can you move the tent somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I didn't mean to say blah, blah, blah to sound disrespectful. It's just kind of how I talk. But basically, the spot where it is, there's not another good spot to put a 40 by 100-foot tent on our property that wouldn't go on the gun club's property. So what I am proposing, the number of parking spots that would be eliminated, and this was talked about at the last one, it would be 30 total spots. That would include the lower lot and the walking area that we have from AJ's to where the the show would be. I have spoken, and I'm not going to put their names on here, but it's probably public record. But the two neighbors kitty corner from AJ's at the W13775 address and the W13851 address, they probably have the biggest yards within a close walking distance of AJ's, have agreed to let us use their yards to park cars in for the event. So while our normal lot that's 126 spots is going to lose 30, we estimated after measuring it off that between those two houses, we would gain 80 spots of parking. So it would be a net gain. Also, the concern was people are going to park in our yards. I don't know if the city has these. I'm guessing that you do, but maybe we can put up no parking signs in front of the people's houses and only have parking allowed in that approximate quarter of a mile area that's wetland that no houses are in, and then people couldn't park on both sides of the street. It wouldn't cause a traffic issue. But I gotta imagine between the spots that we already have, plus these spots in the neighbors' yards, it should cover most of the parking. Oh yeah, AJ's will have employees and volunteers directing traffic in our parking lots and the neighbors' parking lots so people know where to go and are not parking in the wrong places. All right, another question was trash. I've arranged to have multiple of those temporary cardboard trash cans that you often see lining jamming on Janesville to get put around our place. Plus, we have a ton of plastic trash cans. We have an extra dumpster pickup arranged for the Monday after the event. It would be Sunday. They don't pick up on Sunday, at least not our provider. So the trash should get and take care of pretty quickly. As far as power, the sound company came in and measured. They will be able to run cords from AJ's to where it needs to get run, so that's not an issue. AJ's plans to have multiple individuals for security. Under 21 will not be allowed. And those are like things that we addressed from the last meeting. Actually, maybe the under 21 and security wasn't, but I figured I would let you guys know. Just a couple positives that would come of it. They're all charity events. The first one is for Make-A-Wish Wisconsin. The second one is for Friends of Autism. And the third one benefits the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin Burn Camp for Kids. We estimate at the minimum, each charity would end up getting about $2,000, and it could be even higher than that. Other benefits are keep people's spirits up, help a business that's been around 12 years in Muskego to stay afloat with all the stuff that's going on. I guess that's all I have on my sheets. Tried to address the other concerns and a couple of extra things.
All right. I'm sure the committee's going to have some questions.
Yeah.
I have one off the top of my head. You mentioned your neighbors for parking. Do you have that in writing or something that we can verify? Or?
I have their phone numbers if you want to call them, but I don't have it in writing with me right now. I have their
think at the
names.
minimum, we're going to, if they do approve this, we're going to want that in writing of some sort. So you'll need to get that.
I'm sure that would be
Okay.
fine. I mean, I
Anyone
was just
have any
texting them today.
questions or comments or?
So you would run that snow fence or whatever just along the whole perimeter of your property?
That kind of my plan is to run it along, well, the first concern was to run it between ours and Doug's property. But then we figured we would just run it around.
Which is Doug's property? I don't know what Doug's
Oh,
property is.
well, Doug is
Directly to the east?
Right where the tent.
right next to where the tent would be.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, our intent would be to run it around the entire area that we're having designated for this event. So then it would just be people in that, and hence the security people we had, any people that are trying to loiter around that area, we would tell them to get out. And I guess if they didn't, then we'd have to call the police. But I mean, our intent is to keep it a focused event without people loitering, mingling on other people's property and messing up other people's property and whatnot. So,
The only question I got for you, Adam, is one of the concerns that was brought up was after and on the street area and stuff, the littering. You didn't address that, so I'll give you an opportunity to address how you would handle that.
well, I mean, I guess the initial addressing would be with the extra stuff that we're getting from advanced disposal. But I mean, actually, with ending this a little bit earlier, it does give all the extra staff that we have on hand more of a chance to roam the area and check everything and make sure that everything's picked up. I mean,
And that's what I wanted, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
gonna walk the
especially-
area outside your property.
oh, I
And
mean,
especially Jason, even with the fence there adjacent to the other side of the fence, because, he shouldn't have to pick up anything on his
Oh,
side
for
of the
sure.
property.
yeah, absolutely. And that would be, I mean, yeah, no problem.
And the only other question I have is it brought up about the parking, is that we have to have a written statement. Is that standard that we do for other bars when they're having stuff of outside parking? I mean, I want to stay consistent on what we do for businesses and for personal properties. So
I agree.
I just want to make sure that we're consistent on it, that we're not just asking it of this one-time deal here.
No, we, in the past, there's a couple other establishments, one that you gave an extension for their parking. They didn't have a parking lot, and they were using off-site parking, so we required them to get written agreements from their neighbors for that as well. So
Okay.
I just think it's good policy to have it.
No, that's fine. I just want to stay consistent. If we're going to start doing that, then we
Yeah.
should do it all
Yeah.
the time, or
I can tell
don't
you-
pick and choose.
I can tell you, I'm going to start doing that. I can't tell you what was going in the past.
No, I know. I just want to make it clear that, I'm a very consistent type person, so I like to bring up the consistencies a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
So one of the things that, you mentioned how you all these different things, and some of them are things that we wouldn't call a police for, but are just a major nuisance for the neighbors. How can they get them rectified at the time? If somebody stumbles into their yard and they obviously shouldn't be there.
Well, I mean, there will be people working inside the establishment that people can call. And those of us that are outside, the security staff and me, will have headsets with walkie-talkies on them. So if somebody calls inside, then they can, I don't know, I don't use walkie-talkies a lot, but they can message us or call us outside and say, hey, on the west side of the fence, this is going on, send the security there. I mean, we're planning on having 10 security guys out between the parking and just people in general. So there should be a decent amount of presence there, I would hope, to take care of it, something like that.
And Mayor, we can have no parking signs put up on the road, temporary no parking
Sure, we
signs?
can probably arrange that.
I mean, if you don't have them, I think Menards sells them. I can go buy a bunch of them and put them up for you. I don't care.
Yeah, we probably have, like you said, we're jamming at Janesville, stuff is used, right? So we probably have stuff, I don't know what we have.
We've had them for other events with police order signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 'em.
And I would think that if somebody's stumbling in your property, that would be more of a police issue. I mean, it could happen when it's not at AJ's, it could happen at the tent,
Well, yeah,
the tent that's set up on Lannon and Janesville, right next 60 feet from a house there, because I investigated this and I looked at that, and they didn't even have to actually come to us for that. That was granted to them. And that's a full-time tent, every night being used. So I kind of, I'm looking again at the consistencies, I'm looking at how this is working and what we're planning to do. So I think if somebody leaves there and it's a bar and they had too much to drink and went in a neighbor's yard, it would be the same issue as they did here. You should call the police because that's what the police are for.
Well, I'm sure that AJ's would rather take care
yeah.
of themselves
Well, that's
than
right,
call the police.
but I'm just saying
too.
the neighbors have the right to protect their property and
For sure. And
you
I
ask someone to leave and they
appreciate,
don't, then you call the police. I mean, that's what they're there for.
no, I appreciate what you're saying, but I get what you're saying too. And realistically, like, you're right. I would rather that we take care of it before you have to call.
Right.
Not 911, but before you call the police department. So,
So I think with
I
the
get
fence,
what you're
it'll be a big help with a fence there.
And there's absolutely no other place that tent can go.
there's really not
Because I got a real problem with having a tent with a couple hundred people 60 feet from my house.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but at the same point in time, on our particular property, the only other place that it could possibly go would be on the other side of that parking lot, but that is one of the lower spots on our property, and it would, if you get any rain within 3 days of the event, it'd be waterlogged. And on top of that, you're talking noise concerns. Then you've just turned the entire show pointing towards the neighborhood, where now it's pointing towards an open field and the gun club. So you would basically turn it around and increase the people that can hear it by a factor of 10. So I don't know, that's the only thing I'm thinking. But yeah, as far as that, we can't really put it on the other side. And as far as putting a tent up, we can't put it on the gun club's property because there's just not room for that. Plus, it's not our property, so.
Whose property is right here? Right in front, that higher part of your parking lot? This area. So here's your doors. Oh, here's ours. Yeah.
That's all right.
What about putting it there?
That is the driveway for the public to get to the boat launch.
And they can't go this way?
Yeah, but then it comes back up the other way.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be fine doing that, but
You'll lose more parking spots, I believe, also.
You may lose, you'd probably lose about the same, but you'd be disrupting the boat launch those days.
I mean, yeah, if you guys didn't mind with that, okay, sure, but I think that would disrupt more people launching their boats and going to the Boxhorn next door than the house that is right next to the tent. And I mean, and keep in mind, these bands only play for 3 hours. So it's not like, and I understand that it's
So the balance we have here is, this business has been here a long time. I realize this. But you are in a neighborhood. And
Right.
most people probably moved there after this bar was there because it's been there forever. But they moved in here with it being a bar contained inside 4 walls. So you're asking for an exception of that, and that's why we're being overly cautious of it, just trying to balance the needs of having a successful business and be able to, do things with the balance of the neighborhood. So that's really the whole crux of it.
I understand what
So
you're saying. It's just,
we want everyone.
all I'm saying is it's not permanent. It's 3 days.
Right, no, we get that.
So, I mean, and probably it's never going to happen again, provided the COVID stuff goes away. Because I'll never be able to get these bands again in the summer because they'll be at church festivals and stuff like that.
What would you like?
Can we hear from,
Sure. We're going to give some of the neighbors a chance to talk,
Yeah.
and we'll reserve the right to call you back up. Does anybody else want to talk? Does anyone have any questions or? And just state your name and address. That's not for council.
Doug Friedrich, South 90, West 13950, Boxhorn Drive. Yeah, still concerned about the noise, still concerned about the parking. Same things that were already covered, still a concern. This has the potential to have the number of people that come here to Muskego, the Muskego Festival for the bands that are showing up. This isn't small time stuff. These are big name bands that are coming here. The place is gonna be packed. People are gonna be everywhere. Sunday, during the patio thing, I had drunk people stumbling into my yard. No, I know there's no snow fence now, but who's stopping them at 10:30, 11 o'clock? At 8 o'clock, this isn't gonna be over, the lights are gonna go on and everybody's gonna go home. It's gonna be open as long as the bar and the restaurant's open. There's gonna be people out there wandering around, doing anything and everything. And if you like, I've got audio as to what the patio music sounds like on my patio. Can hear it pretty good on my phone. So now we're putting a band 60 feet from my house. 3 weekends or 3 Saturdays in August, and then all of the Sundays are covered with patio music from, what is it now, 2 till 7, 3 till 6, whatever you guys approve. Gun Club closes at 5 on Saturday and Sunday. They're usually done shooting around 2. When's it gonna be quiet around there? And yes, it's a bar and a restaurant. It's not the rave. It's not any of these other concert places. It's not what Quaker Steak and Lube was. Those places are in commercial areas. This isn't.
Okay. Anyone else?
My name is Lynn Bruskowitz. I live on Boxhorn Drive, West 139, South 9218. My parents moved out there when I was 3. My husband and I bought their house. We came back because the neighborhood was quiet, even with the bar. But you had music, AJ's had music last year. We could hear it. We're a quarter mile down the road. There are people, I had a chance to at least 3 times dog sit for Doug. And I had to call the cops on your bar 3 times because the music, the noise, the people, drunken people, which how can you control people, how much they're gonna drink unless you monitor each one and limit the amount that they drink. They're rowdy, they're obnoxious. I like to sleep and I pay good taxes to sleep. I'm not against you doing any business.
Ma'am, can you address us?
Oh, sorry. I'm not against AJ's doing business, but it's a residential neighborhood. It's a quiet neighborhood. We pay good taxes to have quiet. And I just disagree with drunken behavior, loud music, which this would be, and it used to be a supper club. It's not the place to have music like that, even if it is for charity. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else want to address the committee? You can come back up.
Well, I don't know if like what I said before, if we can approve the earlier, then I would hope that that's not affecting people that are sleeping. The patio shows that were mentioned do end at 6. If someone stumbles into someone else's yard, I mean, that's definitely not good. As Doug said, I did mention the fence, so hopefully that wouldn't happen. This will also be a ticketed event, so there's not going to be 3,000 people there. We're capping the advanced tickets at 500. The tent is big enough to hold 700 people, plus the surrounding area, provided the weather's good, could potentially hold another 300 to 500 people, but we're not doing that because, well, of various things that are going on. So it's, while sure, that sounds like a lot of people, it's not Muskego Fest or Dandelion Days or anything like that. It's not that. It's an event that's 3 hours long that, if we're allowed to move it earlier, shouldn't affect anyone's sleep.
Just for clarification, you said you're capping the pre-sale at 500. What about walk-ups?
the intent is to sell out and not have any walk.
Okay, so you're capping the event at 500, is that what you're
Correct.
saying? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
And then you'll turn people away, basically, if people show up, tell them, okay, that was,
Yeah.
sorry, I know.
How much does the bar hold? How many people does the bar hold?
330.
So you could have 500 people and have 400 outside and 100 inside without a problem.
Well, in theory, but I mean, I would imagine most of them are
Most will
going
be
to want to
outside.
be outside
Right,
for the
right.
music.
Okay.
But yeah, so, yeah, seated capacity in the bar is 330.
That would probably generate 100 cars or more, sorry. That would probably generate 100 cars plus.
Absolutely. And that's why
Yep.
that's what I'd mentioned before, the additional parking. Obviously, you guys want signed statements from the neighbors, and then if we can do that other parking up the street, I mean, that's at least 200 spots right there that wouldn't be in front of someone's house.
Now, when we were overhauling here with the new building and everything, no limitation for parking that was common for the festival, the places across the street declined to say parking was available because of liability factors. That was a point that was discussed before, as I recall.
But that probably held more than 500 people.
Yeah.
I mean, probably a couple thousand, I would think.
Oh, sure.
Companies in the industrial park were declining to say you can use our parking lots because of liability factors at that.
But if he has an agreement with somebody down the block, I mean, it depends on the area and who you're talking. I mean, there's a lot of factors. I understand what you're saying, but if he can get agreements with somebody,
Just a
that
point to make.
alleviate some of the pain.
So when you say you're going to cap it at 500, that's 500 in the tent, but you could still potentially have 300 in the bar, correct?
I mean, I guess you could, but the thing is to get into the music area, actually even to get in the park, they're going to have a ticket if they're parking in the main lot. So in reality, I don't think there's any way that you're going to have 800 people on premises. I mean, I just don't see that
Because
happening.
you want to sell tickets for the whole event. You come
yeah.
in AJ's anywhere
Yeah.
on the property, you have to have a ticket is the
Correct.
intent.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plan.
So you're telling this committee you're capping the grounds at 500?
Yes.
Okay.
It's unfortunate there isn't a way to make an arrangement with the gun club to move some of that stuff down there and
Yeah,
aim the music over the lake.
it's a
For
big
the enjoyment of all.
I get it, but it's a big endeavor, and as far as that, on their property, it's tough when you have someone else's property involved that you're actually doing the event on. So,
Any other questions, or? I'm gonna put
Well,
this to a vote.
I guess my thought is if you did one and it didn't work out well,
You can
you
do,
know-
you can do a contingent however you'd want. You can approve one of them, you can put.
I asked that question last time. Jeff said if we grant this for all of them, it would be for all of them, right? I asked that at last meeting.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, I said, is there anything we can do on the dates once we grant this? You said, no, once it's granted, it's granted.
I guess I don't remember saying that. I mean, being here today, right now, you can pick and choose what you want on this, what he's asking for. I can't remember if I,
Well, I mean, putting contingencies on, it. If the first one doesn't work right, you can't have the second one or something like that. Once we approve the dates, we approve the dates, right?
right now, you would approve, I'm only allowing one, I'm only allowing,
2 or 3.
if you grant all of them, yeah, you've granted them.
See, I mean,
Whatever
that's-
happens here today, or if you guys decide to vote, that's what has to carry forward. I see what you're saying. I was misunderstanding.
So when's our next when's our first August one? Because we canceled the first.
I don't think we can defer this.
That'd be the 14, it'd be the 25th or
be-
something like that.
Okay, so we don't have any, we only have,
You'd have to have a special.
We'd have to have a
because we don't
special meeting.
The 11th because of the election.
right.
I don't think we need to defer this.
I'm not saying defer it. I was thinking if we had, say we had a council meeting between the 1st and the 15th, we could approve the first one. And then,
But he has bands. I mean, he's got a lot
I
locked
mean,
up.
if you're going to approve them individually, I would at least ask that you approve the first two, because if I'm trying to sell tickets in advance, I
Well,
mean,
plus you gotta lock
right
them.
now, I'm already under a crunch of like 17 days until the first event
Sure.
to try and get this done. And then that would be even tighter.
I'm just trying to present options to the.
I get it. I get it.
I don't get to vote on this, so.
I get it.
Well, I guess we could potentially say the first one goes without any police calls or the neighbors, having their house
So you
broke
can't say
into.
police calls because I'm telling you, if I was a neighbor
Yeah,
that
then
wanted
it's-
there, I'm making that call today.
Instruction number 101.
You're either encouraging people to advise people
Yeah.
to not call the police, or you're encouraging people to call the police unnecessarily.
Well, and but it's the neighbors that we're concerned about. So at the same time, even if we said, okay, depending on how the neighbors are reacting to it, they still, if they don't want it, they're going to complain either way. So they're either going to call the police or they're going to call us.
Well,
But
I don't think their opinion's going to change, to tell you the truth. So I guess that's why we're here talking with you guys. I mean, it sounds blunt, but I mean, really, I would hope if the first one went off without a hitch, yeah, maybe it would change. But I don't know. I guess I don't see that happening at the moment with the way that the previous comments were.
I think the neighbors are pretty reasonable. I think the fact that you cut it back from 8 o'clock or to 8 o'clock is pretty good. I think that
And added parking.
I would hope
they'd be
so.
good with that. The fact that you
No
have
offense.
parking someplace else beside in their front yards is pretty good. I think the biggest concern is the noise that Doug, obviously,
Well,
living
it's
right on
music.
top
We're
of
gonna
it,
have
has to deal
noise.
with. But
No, that's-
right, I
that's
get
what
that.
we're essentially
But
approving.
I think his concern more than anything right now is who's going to wind up in his yard.
Right, no, I get all his of this. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, he kind of addressed that by adding a fence that was not put in before also. I mean, I think some of the concerns that the neighbors have, from what I understand and what I'm seeing, is that they're saying that there's some other long-term effects. They're worried about the trash, and even when a normal operating bar is going on, or business. So I think those are things you got to work on and address separately. But I think Adam has come up with reasonable solutions. Unfortunately, the worst part for the guy right next to the tent is the worst out of this whole scenario I see. And after driving around and looking at things, and I mentioned that there is another tent that's up full time that didn't have to come through this process to get there, and serves dinner every night, and the house is the same distance away. It's not, I understand it's not the same. There's no band there, but it's only a 3 or 4 hour band for one night, where that's every night. So there's a lot of same concerns in a different way, So I try looking at the whole picture here, and again, staying consistent. I look at this list here. If I count it right, counting AJ's, there's requests for 7 total bars or businesses for outdoor dance, and I believe 2 more for whatever, indoor or whatever. I didn't look at it that closely to count. The total of 9 people asking. And again, the consistency is my biggest dilemma. I'm definitely on the side of the property owners, for their privacy and their respect and everything else. But then again, AJ's is also has a property owner too. And with the COVID going on, trying to get people back to work and everything, that's a big underlying factor as well too, to get businesses healthy and back at it. He hasn't had this for, I think he said, 12 years. And he mentioned he doesn't plan on doing it again. I mean, I don't want to say I'll take his word on that, because maybe he'll want to have a 5 years from now, have a 50th or 15th anniversary or something. I don't know. I'm not going to hold him to that, because things change. But I think we've come up with some solutions to at least move this forward to the council. And,
I was going to say,
and
why
have a
don't
better
we, at this point,
yeah.
why don't we just move this to council without a recommendation? Because this is all going to be debated.
That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think that's the best spot, is to move it up to council.
There's
and
4 other
see-
people, I'm sure they're going to want to weigh in a little more.
Yep.
So at
That's
this
where I
point,
was going.
Council's tonight, it's just a little later down the line. So this is just a recommendation to council anyway.
This way you get everybody's
So
input.
I think why don't we just move this whole thing forward to council? We'll discuss it at, as soon as we're done with this meeting, we'll go to one short one and then the regular meeting. So,
We need a motion for that?
yes.
I'll put it through.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Stay tuned. All right, moving on to recommendation of outdoor dance permit for Crush Wine Bar on Parkland Drive for August 7th, 2020, from 5 to 9 p.m. This is for Jammin' on Janesville.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Recommendation for approval for outside dance permit and temporary amendment to licensed premise to the Suburban Bourbon.
There's a typo on there.
Yeah, that's
I
gotta
saw
be-
that, I saw that earlier.
I saw that earlier.
We just got to correct that in our notes.
What's the?
What's the?
2021.
Well, that's
That's right.
the June 4th, 2021 is for the next year's Jammin', but the 4th is not the correct date, it's the 5th. So we're just correcting it.
Oh, I
But
see how you did that.
The 2021 is
Got
correct. He always goes into the next year for his outside
Okay.
events.
Okay, easy enough.
Move to approve as amended.
Oh, you got to go through August 7th also, you didn't finish that.
Yes, for previously, it was previously approved for June 5th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. and August 7th, 2020 from 3 p.m. till 10 p.m.
And I'll second it.
All right. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Recommendation of approval of outside dance permit for Mark's Pioneer Inn on Pioneer Drive for July 18th, 2020 from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. July 25th, 2020 from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. August 9th, 2020 from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. August 22nd and 29th, 2020 from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Recommendation to approval for an outside dance permit and temporary amendment to licensed premise for Tailspin Bar and Grill on Martin Drive for July 23rd, 2020 and August 6th and 20th, 2020 from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Recommendation of approval of Class B retail license and sale of fermented malt beverages and intoxicating liquors for Pops Marketplace LLC, DBA Pops Marketplace on Janesville Road. No outside sales. Plan Commission approval required.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Why does it need planning commission approval? I mean,
Because
what are they doing? I mean,
They're doing a major change to their whole BSO there as far
Oh,
as-
okay, gotcha.
So that, we need to plan to weigh in on that.
They didn't serve alcohol there before and now they are?
The last two, we allowed them to do the last two events as like a test. The alcohol license was through the microbrewery that was
Okay,
there.
gotcha.
Per state law, those microbreweries can transfer their license to another premise for that day. And
Okay,
that's what he's
easy
done.
enough.
So, any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Recommendation of approval for outside dance permit for Bass Bay Brew House on Audemars Drive for July 25th, 2020 from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m.
Move to approve.
Second.
All, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Recommendation of approval of a change of agent, Justin M., I'm really bad, I'm saying names, Pankanen for the Class A liquor license held by Ultramart Foods LLC, Pick and Save.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Recommendation of approval for outside dance permit and temporary amendment to licensed premise for Lucky's at the Lodge on Janesville Road for August 7th from 5 p.m. till midnight. That's Jammin' on Janesville.
Oh, Jammin' on
to approve.
Janesville goes to midnight? Jammin' on Janesville goes to midnight? I'll second it, but
He's asking for till midnight, so you can approve or.
have we approved those at midnight in the past? I thought we had an 11 o'clock cutoff time.
Anyone?
I thought for some
thought
reason
we
in the
did
past,
too.
we put that at 11 o'clock was the
I'm the new
cutoff
guy,
time.
I don't know.
Can we research that?
Well, the application for the music says 10:30.
Okay, so the music's shutting off at 10:30.
No, they're asking for it till midnight.
Okay.
That's what they're asking for.
So what was the 10:30 part?
That's just on the application form. I mean, I guess
Okay.
the
Oh,
finance.
so
committee
that's what
kinda
we,
count-
maybe that's what we limited it on the application,
I thought-
and you can request more than that? Is that,
That's-
that's what you're saying?
Correct, that's what they're
Okay.
doing. But the person I talked to understands that you may not grant midnight.
Well, I think midnight, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but it seems like in Muskego at 9 o'clock and Janesville Road is pretty quiet other than jamming to Janesville. But I mean, I can, we'll pass this up, and if anybody wants to change, lower it, who's ever district that's in can talk about it.
John.
Okay.
I'm in favor of it being less than midnight.
Well, let's move it up and then we can amend it during
Right.
council, right? So we can talk to it?
All right, do you want to give a recommendation or no recommendation?
No, I'll just motion to approve and
All
we'll
right, all
move
those
it up.
in favor
And
of moving it forward, say aye.
Well, is there a recommendation to change the hours, or,
Not yet.
well, let's just change the hours if that's the
Okay, what do you
issue.
want to make it? I just,
Go to 11 o'clock. I'm good with 11 o'clock. I'll make a motion.
yeah, I think 11, I think
Yeah.
it's been 11 before. That's good.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All right.
Any further discussion? Can I have a vote on the motion to amend from midnight to 11 PM?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now can I have a motion or a vote on the motion as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. New business, recommendation of approval of letter of credit for reduction for Will Rose Apartments LLC.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Voucher approvals.
Utility vouchers. Motion to approve utility vouchers in the amount
Have to sign it.
of $115,411.08.
Second.
Oh,
Discussion?
you know what? I have to do these individually, don't I? I'm sorry. That's when I was looking at this. Approved separately, right? So I have the utility vouchers. Do I have to do them? It says approve.
Usually do them, I don't, which way do we want?
They're separate,
Yeah, do them
yes.
separately. So all those
Yeah.
in favor of the vouchers, say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes unanimously. Moving on to utility vouchers.
I'm sorry, I was thinking we had to do each dollar amount, but yeah, I see what it goes as total. Right. There are no tax vouchers. Motion to approve general fund vouchers, in the amount of $273,547.13.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Here's where I was getting confused. Here's where we do them separately, but we only have one. Wire transfers, motion to approve wire transfers for payroll transmittals in the amount of $371,077.91.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We do not have a finance director's report tonight. Any communications or any other miscellaneous business? Hearing none.
Move to
Motion
adjourn.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 6 PM.